You know who you are?
Steeven is my name.
Even Steeven.
Will you say something, Steeven?
Steeven Orhouse Media.
You're listening to the Superman Super Show, episode number 65, Perrone and the Drug Gang. This episode was recorded on Friday, July the 28th, 2023. Hello and welcome to the Superman Super Show. I'm a host. My name is Steeven. And 1,000 miles over there to my right is another host, Mr. Ed Moore.
Howdy.
So you wanted to talk about a little bit about Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion, yes. For those of you that are listening that may not be in the know, Secret Invasion was a 6-episode Marvel TV show that was on Disney, centered on Nick Fury. And in my mind, I've seen probably 85 or 90% of everything. The most recent Guardians of the Galaxy, the Christmas Guardians that was on TV, I haven't seen those. And maybe some other shows that they say are Marvel, but it's kind of tangential. Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, some other things.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah,
that.
I've seen any of those.
So, up to this point, that show was the most unlike that character of any character that they have had in any TV show, in any movie to date.
Yeah.
Every episode, the overarching storyline, Nick Fury would not have been there, done that at all. You know, Nick Fury would not have quit, first of all. That's why he's Nick Fury. Nick Fury would not have married a Skrull. I find that very... by the way, folks, spoilers.
Spoilers?
Yeah, here we go. I cannot swallow that he would have married a Skrull. Also, when he first found out about the Skrulls, he would have immediately gone to Tony Stark and said, Tony, make me something that I can carry with me and turn on, and it will change every Skrull within whatever vicinity back to a Skrull, so I know who's who and where they are and everything like that. As well as episode thing after I'm like, no, I don't know who this is the Skrull, and everybody else is normal. This is not Nick Fury. I just, for the sake of the story, is what they did, and I thought that they did an excellent job of eviscerating the character of Nick Fury for this TV show. It just, wow.
If I was to sum up my feelings on the show with one word, it would be, You know, I was entertained, but it's not one of the... Yeah. When I eventually go back, like I do every once in a while, and rewatch the MCU, I'm probably going to skip this one.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it.
No, I mean...
I did feel like we were going to learn by the end of it that Nick Fury was a Skrull.
It
which
sure felt
I guess
like that.
Kind of technically we did just the one part.
Right.
But it's really hard for me to regardless of how they may have made out Nick Fury to be in this show, it's really hard for me to dislike any character that Sam Jackson plays. I just love him so much.
Sure.
But I was super confused. Why did he put the eye patch back on? That was the only part of the whole show. I'm like, nope, I don't buy this.
Okay. I took it to be that we saw both Furies. Okay. That last episode was the Nick Fury before the blip, if you want to pin it down. After the comeback, up until he put the patch back on in the mausoleum, that was a Nick Fury. That was the resigned, I can never win. What's the use of fighting? I'm tired. I deserve a break.
So that would be, you've seen the movie Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood? Yes. The moment in the movie when he finds out that they killed Ned
Yes.
And he takes that bottle of liquor from the guy and starts drinking. That's the moment in the movie where you're like, oh shit, stuff's going to happen now.
Yep.
So I guess that was back. Like his Unforgiven moment where it's just like, okay, here we go. He's putting the patch back on.
Yeah.
And I get that.
And truly, that Nick Fury, well, I was going to say, but in that final scene with the Skrull, that wasn't even Nick Fury.
No.
That was more the Nick Fury that I thought he should have been, but it wasn't even him. That was, soon as dude turned on the machine, I knew that it's like, oh, I know what you did there, and I know why. So up until that point, I was like, damn, dog is really putting himself out there and getting sick and all this stuff. I'm like,
Yeah, see, I wasn't smart enough to put two and two together and realize that he was she.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed that Nick Fury was a Skrull the entire time. That's all because I just couldn't imagine Nick Fury putting himself through that.
Right.
To die there just to get the guy off the planet,
Right. Just to ask him to leave and try to come to some sort of agreement with him that he would leave. It's like, really? At that?
I can see him. Yeah, I can see him sacrificing himself to take the guy out, but not to go, please leave.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah. But, and then the hospital was the most unexciting, slowest hospital that nobody worked at. I swear to God, every time there was especially there at the end when they were pulling the president all over the place, trying to get out of the hospital, and every shot of a hallway, it was the exact same set. They just changed the title of the thing over the door. Okay, this is now where the ER is. And reset it. We'll just change the sign. It's the same, but it'll look like they're coming into a new hallway. They really, I don't know, maybe they spent all their money just getting Sam Jackson to come back and play Nick Fury.
Maybe.
Was the hospital was really disappointing. The guy who played the president, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but my first thought was from Dirty Steve to the president of the United States, because that's the guy that played Dirty Steve in Young Guns. Yeah. But it was I'm not mad I watched it. I'm not on the internet going, stupid show.
Really.
It destroyed my childhood, Yeah, but I probably won't watch it again.
For folks that have watched everything since the first Iron Man movie, the first Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor movie, completely different tenor than just about everything that came after that. And I can't necessarily put my finger on why, or the moment that it changed. From here, these were this way and these were this way. It just, those three movies really stand out to me as far as a feeling. And then everything after that, except, now I will say, the Marvel TV shows that Disney did not do, that Netflix did, those have a feeling that all of the other TV shows have not been able to do either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand that you have different writers and they, but I think that since Disney has gotten a stranglehold on the IPs, they have just driven it in a way different from what they were.
Yeah.
And it just, they don't, it's not the same level of enjoyment as the Netflix TV shows and those first, maybe the second Iron Man and the second Cap movie also, maybe. Starting though with the second Thor movie and everything. So, but they're just, now it's just, I almost watch them. I almost hate watch them, just so that I can say I did. And it's like,
Yeah, for me though, while I think it did take a bit of a dip when we're talking about Iron Man 2 and Thor 2, but as far as Captain America, I liked the first movie, but Winter Soldier was for me way above that first movie. Okay. And Civil War, probably the same level. It was more of an Avengers movie than it was a Captain America movie, but still, right. I loved the crap out of Winter Soldier. I really enjoyed how, because the first movie, it made sense. It felt a certain way because most of it was set in World War II. It had to feel that way. Mm-hmm. And then once you get Cap into the modern world, they turn it into almost like this spy thriller with superheroes, which again makes sense for Captain America in the modern world. So yeah, I think they've done a good job with Cap, but I wonder, let's talk about this philosophically for a second.
Okay.
Is the new stuff, the stuff they've made over the last few years, is it really, and I know the answer to this, sounds silly to say it out loud, but is it really worse than the stuff they were making originally? Or is it because it's not as special to us anymore because we're used to seeing it, because think about what we had before Iron Man. We had those Spider-Man movies, which were great.
Right.
And maybe Blade.
Okay. Now, but in defense of my argument, I do have, for me, what is pretty substantial evidence. And I feel that it is less me and more them, because there are still comic books that I pick up and read of different times that give me that same feeling.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the story and the art. It has to do with the craft. I still can get there. It's not that I'm so, jaded or whatever word you want to use, which, yes, that is very possible. And it does play some part. Absolutely, you have to admit that. But the fact that I can still get those feelings when I pick up a new book or when I pick up a book that I've read 10 times tells me that with these characters and this type of setting and this type of writing, it can still be done. So if a flat 2D 25-page comic book can make me feel that way, an hour and a half ultra CGI movie with real life people should be able to do it as well.
Here, let me put this out there. One big difference between maybe a comic book that you might have picked up over the last 5 years that still made you feel like you did picking up a comic book 30 years ago. The difference there between the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, regardless of the fact that those books still being made today are technically part of the continuity, they're not ultimately under the control of one guy.
No,
which really, I feel true. Like maybe one of the reasons that the MCU maybe is not doing as good as it was is because I feel like they've almost painted themselves into a corner because they're trying to stick with this narrative, this one world, which we know based off of 85 years of comic books that they can do, but you had different people steering the ship throughout all those years.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. That's just me talking out of my ass, but
it could be that, perhaps we are tired of that one person's vision.
Yeah.
We see it. We got you. We feel you. Let's hand the torch over to, it doesn't have to be older or younger or a woman but just something different. Let's see their 6, 8, 10 movie picture. Perhaps that would do it.
Yeah, because they can move forward from here, still make movies, still set in the same universe, still following the same continuity. But maybe if you had somebody else steering the ship, maybe, because the one thing I hear most is when I hear feedback about stuff like Secret Invasion, for example, is it's not how they should have done it like this. Maybe if they would have done this instead. And it's like, yeah, but they didn't. And whose I don't know whose fault is that? But
yeah,
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It wasn't as bad as most folks are making it out to be online, but it wasn't.
No,
I think the only reason I would watch it again is if maybe Karen said, "Hey, let's watch all the Marvel stuff." I'd go, "Okay, well, we got to watch everything, and this is one of them." So,
yep,
But otherwise, when I eventually again go do my rewatch, I don't know that I would watch that one again.
Right. Well, and would it be necessary? Is there that much in there that you need to refresh, or can you just kind of skip whatever happened in that, and it didn't add anything substantial, really? It's
think about the TV shows this way, because I almost feel anymore that like most of these shows that they're doing for Marvel really are their ultimate purpose is to set up what's going to happen in a movie.
Okay.
And so I almost feel like the movies are the main event issues. Mm-hmm. And then the TV shows are the tie-ins where, if you want to get everything, right, you should watch it.
You don't have to have it.
But you don't have to watch it. Yeah. So
could be
Secret Invasion, while it was, again, one time through was fun. I had fun with it. I'm interested to see how that affects the movie side of it, because obviously, I'm sure it's going to affect the new Captain America movie.
Should affect Marvel's, I would think, too.
It should affect Marvel's, most certainly. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Gaia. How is she going to, what's her purpose now in the because she's.
That's a big deal.
Freaking powerful at this point.
That's a major weapon just walking around on the planet.
And I assume when you step into a machine like that and absorb the DNA of 3 dozen superheroes, that also includes the innate knowledge on how to use all those powers. Because they just back and forth. They just, I'm going to do this. You just knew exactly what to do.
Yep. Yeah, they flipped through it and used it and moved on to the next one. And yeah.
Yep. And so really when it came down, because ultimately each one of them had the exact same power set. Mm-hmm. They had access to the same thing. So it's almost like a Green Lantern going up against another Green Lantern who has the imagination,
right,
and the cleverness to use those powers in a certain way that's going to take out the other person. That's kind of what I liked about that fight.
Yeah, because definitely they both should be able to do the same things the same way.
Yep.
But who can think of it, or who can put together the best combination first?
Yeah. It's like in a video game, who's going to pick the right item to in what order,
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all right.
Doug said back there that he had that Blues Brothers poster too.
Yeah. See, Doug and I are like,
sorry guys, I had the Farrah Fawcett poster in my room.
I think it's time that I explain to everybody that Doug and I are the same person.
It could be.
I'm over here typing his comment.
Yes. Yeah, you were logged in to YouTube somewhere as Doug S. And you're feeding this whole time.
I'm catfishing the podcast.
Man.
All right, you want to talk about this story?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so today we're looking at Perrone and the Drug. Oh, I cut that off. What was the title? Perrone and the Drug Gang.
Drug Gang.
This is the 4th story to appear in Superman issue number 8. Was written by Jerry Siegel, pencils by Joe Shuster, with inks by Wayne Boring. Superman number 8 has a cover date of January/February 1941, but an on sale date of November 10th, 1940. That is according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics. And let me tell you what happened in this story. Oh my God, I didn't update the freaking synopsis of the story in the show notes. Okay, let me go.
You're right, yeah.
I was just getting ready to start. reading
After
that,
saving
this sounds
a man,
really familiar.
wait a minute.
That happened twice? Okay, let me go to... All right, here we go. A series of daring robberies are committed by several dope addicts. Superman trails one of the crooks, Nate Grant, back to his boss and supplier, John Perrone. The Man of Steel sets a trap for Perrone and catches him in the act of a robbery. When the case goes to trial, Perrone's lawyer gets him off on a technicality. Lois Lane, who was also involved in Perrone's capture, is invited to Perrone's club with Clark Kent. Nate bursts into the club, making accusations against Perrone, so Perrone and his lawyer, Brokenshire, which sounds like the place where evil hobbits hang out, or sad hobbits, one of the two. Perrone and his lawyer, Brokenshire, kill Nate. Superman steps in to prevent them from disposing of the body. The police are called and the crooks are arrested, caught red-handed. What'd you think of this one, Ed?
It felt a little different. In our string of mob stories that we seem to have entered here for Superman for the last little bit. I'm not 100% sure that I could explain why, because I don't really think I know why. It felt different. It still has a lot of those similarities. The gangsters and a rather mundane kind of task that Superman seems to be offended by, but then he decides to champion the goodness and justice through the situation, and will involve Lois or not. Maybe he'll kind of go undercover or not. So many similarities. But at the end of the story, I was kind of shaking my head and smiling, as opposed to the previous story where I was just like, wah, wah. Okay, moving on.
The Superman Super Show will return after these messages. And now back to the Superman Super Show.
So I think part, as I'm talking, part of it is the inherent naivety of a world beset by dope addicts. That is just so like, that just throws you in the way back somewhere. That's like, grandma and grandpa like 2 or 3 times removed the wording that they would have used. So I think maybe that's part of it. Almost that, that innocence that you see in the fact that they're concerned about dope addicts.
Yes, this one made me feel like almost like a shift when, for example, Marvel Comics started doing Punisher books and made crime a bit more hardcore.
Right.
It was a more serious business going on. And that, just the way the story opens up, the very first panel, once you get past that opening page that gives you the teaser, the very first panel, you got 2 guys with Tommy guns gunning down a pair of dudes that are, they're robbing an armored car and they're gunning down the 2 guards. Yep. Then we get just mayhem in the streets, the guy hanging out of a car with his Tommy gun, just shooting up another car. A bullet barely misses Lois. They run over a guy in a wheelchair. They almost run down some children in the street. It's like the way this starts out, it's like, okay, this shit just got real. This mayhem is what dope does to a city.
Dope. Yeah.
And for most of the story, they don't tell you any more about it's just dope. They're just dope addicts. They're on the dope, and the dope is making them crazy.
That's it.
You find out a little later, at least at one point, they're going to knock over a shipment of morphine.
Right.
And because the one guy, I need some more dope. I need you to shoot me up. I need, scratching himself. Yeah. And then it's morphine, which, that's dope. But I think this would be the modern day version of these are all heroin addicts.
Yeah.
Except, well, actually, I would say meth, because I don't think heroin makes you go out and act crazy like this. I think it's more of a chill unless you shoot up too much and then you die kind of drug. Whereas meth makes you go out and mow your lawn at 3 a.m. in the middle of a rainstorm, So,
okay.
I was also really confused about Nate, because the first time we get this dude's name, where is it?
Yeah, I noticed that too. In the text bubble, he drops 2 names.
Yeah. Nate, didn't I always tell you, Grant, never to come here? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate Grant. That's the guy's name. And that is poor writing. That's what that is.
Well, and you can tell that it's not something that they meant to take out. There's nothing that leads you to believe that they intended anything other than those words to be together in that bubble.
Yeah. Yep.
But I caught that too. I was like, what? So Nate is the dude's name.
Yeah. Nate Grant. Grant's his last name.
Okay. Yeah. So see,
They do finally say that together way at the end of the story. I think they actually call him Nate Grant. And I was waiting the whole story for them to do that, because they have that one word bubble where they use both names in the same word bubble. There's another moment where throughout most of the story, they refer to him as Nate, but there's another moment where a guy refers to him as Grant. So I was just,
okay.
Are they just making mistakes when they lettered this book? But then, right at the end, I think they refer to the guy as Nate Grant.
Okay. See, that I didn't even catch. So
the last page, middle area, the cop says, Nate Grant murdered.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that completely. Wow. Okay.
What did you think about the legal technicality that the lawyer used to get the guy off?
I don't even think that qualifies as a legal technicality.
No,
I don't think that's a technicality at all.
No, that's somebody who has, I don't know anything about law either, but I think if I was going to put a scene like that in my book, I would find somebody who knows something about law and ask them if that's an actual defense,
That was pretty weak.
Yeah, the charge says you are being charged for robbing a storeroom, but in fact, they robbed a storehouse. So you got to let him go. No. I think a judge would give him the big middle finger, tell him to sit down and shut up.
Really?
And he should not be practicing law. I think that's what a real judge would have done.
Well, it certainly would have been one of those TV judges that did that. And any of them, just pick one.
Judge Judy.
Okay.
She'd be like, shut up.
There were 2 in the previous story. Actually, there was one in this story also. A hanging Superman.
Yes.
So that is...
And for those listening for the first time, that's Superman hanging from something, not with a noose around his neck dangling from a tree.
No. Although we have seen a lynching in a Superman story.
Yes, we have. We certainly have.
It was not him that was the victim.
No.
And I don't think it was either one of these, but I read 3 and 4, and then I read the story in Action Comics 33. It must be in the Action Comics issue. Yeah, it is. Superman flew, Steeven. They made no pretense about it. He flew.
Really?
He flew.
Okay. Looking forward to seeing that.
So, yeah, that's
a few months before Superman number 10.
So that I don't talk about it in relation to what we are talking about. Let me flip through it. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, right here. Yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely no way for him to be doing. He even says in the next story, up, up, and away.
Interesting. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So, yeah, see that pose and then see the next panel. Come on. I mean, there, yeah. So yeah.
That's either just very good luck when it comes to falling out of the sky.
No.
That's flying.
So, okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we finally have that to look forward to next issue or next story. Whether they admit it in the story or not, I am planting my flag on that hill and getting ready. That's
that's
one.
All right.
Okay. So back to this one. Can there possibly be a mobster of any intelligence at this point that really wants to do anything left? I mean,
no. Nope.
I mean, not even withstanding the contemporary Superman that can hear people, half the world away, so they have to whisper to try, none of that stuff. This is just Superman constantly taking down mobsters. Can there possibly be any mobsters left in the surrounding Metropolis vicinity that thinks that they can get away with anything?
It makes you wonder are they just constantly, is there just this giant mass of criminals in Metropolis, or is it every time he takes a gang out, then another one comes in to take their place?
Well, but they would have to know why they have a place. I mean, they would have to understand what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen to us.
I just.
But there actually is a moment in this story where Nate, when he goes to Perrone, I need another shot of dope. I just gotta. And he tells Perrone, I tell you, a caped figure jumped down before our car, flipped it over like it was a kiddie car. And Perrone says, trying to make me believe that Superman fairy tale, eh? So yeah, these criminals are stupid.
How? Yeah. Now that would have been something to have been tallying all of this time, is how many people he took out, got arrested or whatever. It's got to be in the mid to high 3 digits by this point.
Yeah, and he's in the newspapers all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just, it's not like with Batman where he doesn't really allow, he's in the shadows. He doesn't allow people to see him. He's a myth. He's a legend. He's in the, but Superman's just out there for everybody to see. And they write articles about him in the newspaper. And they've got to have photos of him at this point. But
the military has seen him. Cops have seen him. Every level of law enforcement by now has seen him somewhere, somehow doing something. He has helped them. He's brought bad guys to something. And it's just like, come on, guys. We need some supervillains now. We need supervillains to go up against Superman.
So in the Batman comics, the saying is always, villains are a superstitious and cowardly lot. Mm-hmm. In Superman, it's got to be, villains are stupid. That's why I don't even have to have superpowers. They're stupid.
Yep.
That's why I keep winning.
I just noticed something here. Let's see. In the, I don't know what page it is, but on the, looks like probably the 3rd or 4th page where dude is getting out of the trash can where he hid. The final panel on that page up in the upper right-hand corner of that page, that is not a leaping Superman. The next panel where he sees somebody walking into the building, that is not a leaping Superman.
Now, all right. That first panel, yes, that is a Superman flying through the corner of that panel.
Yes.
This one, that could be him standing at the edge of a building.
Oh,
that
wow.
Could be him on a roof looking out over, from the perspective, there could be a building underneath him. But
okay.
I'm not trying to argue with you because, that other one is he is flying through the air. Either that or he has just been fired out of a cannon and he happens to be zipping by going,
right.
Hey, there's somebody coming out of a trash can.
It was a bad jump. He got off on the wrong foot on that one or something. But oh man, just somebody just say he's flying. Or the page where he's watching the dude walk into the building. How about that panel at the bottom of that page? The left-hand panel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on. Give him supervillains and daggone it, say he's flying. Come on, let's move this puppy forward some.
And this story proves that dope addicts are stupid as well, because Superman basically just writes something on a piece of paper that leads him to believe that there's a big shipment of morphine coming in, and then just drops it in front of him. This paper just gently falls out of the sky in front of him. And he's like, oh, what's this? And he picks it up and he's like, drugs, let's go get them.
Yep, it's exactly what he's looking for. Yep. What a coincidence. I like what he did to the car after he put the bad guys in it there. He kind of scrunched it up so that it couldn't open and they couldn't get out. So it was like a Superman-made prison, basically, out of a truck.
Exactly. This is one of those, a whole bunch of stuff happens in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of those that I was thoroughly confused for much of it because my brain can't take that much input in 13 pages. But by the end, it all came together for me. But there's a lot. I mean, for a story that's ultimately about, I mean, it's supposed to be Superman taking out dope addict criminals, but it's also about a criminal mastermind and his lawyer that helps keep them out of jail and trying to get the dirt on them as well to get them in, you know, so it's just a lot. There's just a lot in this one. And of course, to really put that last nail in the criminals are stupid coffin, Perrone invites Lois and Clark to their celebration, to which everybody's drunk and talking about how they pulled one over on the cops and the legal system. And then Nate comes bursting in. You've kept me prisoner for a week.
With no dope.
They're like, shh, let's get him out of here. Shh. Remember, there are reporters in this room.
Yeah.
And we get how many? At least 3 Superman hanging from ledges in this one.
Nah, I think just 2.
We've got that one there.
Right.
Technically that one, but it's probably because he goes into the building, drops the note, and then he hangs outside the window again to see what happens.
That's like a rock climbing kind of move there with both hands on the vertical seam. But now I don't. The one where he's torn the grill off the window and talking about gunshots, I don't. That didn't seem to me as hanging as much as a jumping up too. But well, no, I guess it is because you can see his face here in the next one. Yeah, so you
see a little face peeking into the window.
So this is another 3 story here.
Well, that's the goal from here on out. They cannot do less than 3 in a story. They've raised that bar.
Yep. Well, yeah, we've had more in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories than we've had in almost all of the stories before that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for a while there, it's like every issue he was hanging from a ledge. Mm-hmm. And then there was just this swath of issues for months where he didn't hang from anything.
No. Now all of a sudden he's back to it.
Yep.
They're trying to distract us from his flying by showing him hanging.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly. They put those in to go, no. If he could fly, why would he be hanging from this ledge?
Exactly. See? Yeah.
I don't know that I have anything else to say about it. It was, it had its moments. I'm in the same camp you are. I'm ready for something other. You know, let's get back to some Ultra Human. I know we got Luthor coming up because I've seen his name in the titles of some upcoming stories.
We need to go. Superman. I mean, these mobsters are not remotely a challenge. It's just
not at all. Not in the least little bit. There has been no moment over the last dozen or so stories that you've went, oh, how's Superman going to get out of this one? It's more like, how is the criminal going to get out of this one?
Really? What is the quip Superman's going to come up with?
Right. What's the crazy ass thing Superman's going to do in this issue? Is he going to eat a knife?
Well, he has done that in the past, so now we know he's capable.
Yep. That's good stuff. When Superman eats a knife in front of a villain, you just want to stand up and clap. Just bravo, Superman.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. You want me to wrap it up?
Yes, sir.
All right, folks. This was Ed and I give this maybe medium thumbs.
Yeah,
not quite thumbs down, not quite thumbs up.
We'll do a horizontal thumb.
Yeah, this is a horizontal thumb. So let's see what happens next week, folks, because it sounds like Superman might fly when he's not supposed to be, and the comics reading world does not consider it his first time flying.
Wow. That doesn't mean that they're right.
That's right. It's all in your perception.
Yes.
It's the reader decides. So we'll decide next week. Until then, folks, see, I'm trying to transition. I'm trying so hard.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
Transition. No. I'm trying so hard to make it sound natural. And I do that on my other shows too. And I'm really bad at it. So, will Steeven transition better in the next episode? Until then, folks, I'm Steeven and that's Ed. And this was the Superman Super Show. Bye.
Ciao, folks.
We want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Superman Super Show. Questions and comments can be directed to the supermansupershow at gmail.com. If you enjoyed the show, you can help to boost our presence online by leaving a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. The Superman Super Show is a presentation of Steeven or Else Media. For more nerdy content just like this, check out stevenorelse.com or just use the link in your show notes. Superman is a registered trademark of DC Comics and was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Superman's bad. I mean, he was bad.
All right, I'm saved up and re-recording.
I am as well. Doug says we're on a mission from God.
God. We're on a mission from God.
I need to watch that movie again.
We went to, we had dinner at Outback Steakhouse today. And I promise you, when the waitress walked up to me and said, "Do you know what you want?" And 4 whole fried chickens and a Coke is what went through my head. I was like, no, she wouldn't even, she has no chance of getting that. So I'm like,
yeah. And then the other one wanted what? Like a
white bread.
Slice of
Toasted
dry white toast.
With nothing on it. Yeah. Jake.
Elwood. Jake. Yeah.
The Blues Brothers. Okay, no, we're going to keep going. I'm going to have to go in after we're done recording and watch that before I can sleep.
Right? Yeah. It's got the single most epic car chase scene of any movie ever.
Goodness gracious, man.
The best part is when the Nazis drive off of that bridge and they're just falling and the one just looks over at the other one and goes, "I've always loved you." And
was it a pacer? Wasn't a pacer, was it? It was
a pacer or a gremlin or a pinto.
One of those. Like
yeah.
That. Yeah, just
yeah, that's good stuff.
And if you watch real close, there's a Princess Leia scene in it too.
Princess Leia and a Steven Spielberg.
Yep. It's just, and I find myself saying this so often, but they just don't make movies like that anymore. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Case in point, I haven't seen it. Everybody says it's good. Barbie. That is the kind of movie they make nowadays, not the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, it's all about IPs nowadays, franchises, and, yeah.
See what Doug said there? Doug seems to be a fan also.
It's just about a perfect movie, yeah. Used to have a poster in my room that was the Blues Brothers sitting on the hood of their car.
Yes.
And it said, we're so many miles from Chicago. We got to have to take gas. We'll take gas, have to take cigarettes. Yeah.
Hit it.
And I got it at, the year I got it was at the convention in Chicago that year.
Nice.
It's like I saw it at a booth. I hadn't planned on buying it. I'm like, I can't go to Chicago and not get this.
Yep.
So
that's about as Chicago as you could get at the time, for sure.
Yep. All right. Here we go.